The most powerful man in the world is losing his mind. He hasn't cut his hair in months. He wanders the marble halls of his palace in a stupor, refusing to see advisors, refusing to govern. Then, suddenly, he'll stop, walk to the nearest door, and slam his head against the solid wood, again, and again, shouting the same words, a desperate, broken plea, Quintili Ver, legions red. Quintilius Verus, give me back my legions. This is the Emperor Augustus in 9 AD. And here's the unsettling detail, the key to our entire investigation today. He's not screaming give me back my men. He's not crying for the 20,000 soldiers lost. He's crying for the legions. The 17th, the 18th, and the 19th. Because in the mud and rain of a German forest, 3 of his armies didn't just die. They were erased. Deleted from history. And the weapon that killed them wasn't a sword. It was the loss of this, a gilded eagle on top of a pole. How does a piece of metal become so powerful that its capture can break the nerve of an empire? And how has that same formula, that same dark magic, been used for 2,000 years to engineer obedience, start wars, and make men die for a piece of cloth? Today, we're not just telling a story. We're decoding the blueprint beneath the blood. Imagine this. The road is not a road. It's a gutter of sucking clay, somewhere in the Teutoburg Forest. The sky smells of wet earth and iron. Your shield is slick with rain, almost impossible to grip. You are a soldier in the 17th Legion, and for 2 days, it's been hell. Not a battle. Something worse. An assassination from a million directions at once. Out of the dripping green walls of trees, javelins hiss. Not in volleys, but in ones and twos. Constant, nagging, deadly. Men grunt and fall into the mud. The wagons, filled with supplies and wounded, are hopelessly mired. Your commander, Governor Verus, a politician, not a soldier, is screaming for the men to form a line. But there is no line to form. There's just the column, 15 kilometers long, being bled out inch by inch. The man who led you here, Arminius, a trusted Germanic guide who dined in Verus's tent just nights ago, has vanished. He didn't just lead you into a trap. He is the trap. He knows every Roman tactic because he was trained by Rome. And he is using that knowledge to dismantle you, piece by agonizing piece. In the chaos, there's only one order that matters. It's not spoken. It's a frantic gravity pulling everyone's eyes toward a single point of light in the gloom, the Aquila. The legion's eagle. The man holding it, the Aquilifer, has both hands on the pole. His knuckles are white. The gilded bronze bird is clotted with rain and mud. That eagle is everything. It is not a mascot. It is the soul of the legion made physical. And the objective is simple, keep the eagle standing. Because if the eagle falls, the legion breaks. When the legion breaks, the oath breaks. And when the oath breaks, Rome breaks. So how did we get here? How did a metal statue gain the power to hold an army together, or shatter it? To understand that, we have to go back 100 years before Teutoburg, to a man who faced a crisis. His name was Gaius Marius. Rome's army was a mess of part-time farmers, loyal to their hometowns, not to the state. In a crisis, they might just go home. Marius needed to invent a new kind of loyalty. A fanatic, unbreakable bond. Around 104 BCE, he enacted a series of brutal reforms. He professionalized the army, but his masterstroke was psychological. He abolished all the other legionary standards, the wolf, the minotaur, the horse, and elevated one symbol above all others, the Aquila. The eagle. And then he did something revolutionary. He made the soldiers swear a sacred oath, the sacramentum, not to a politician, not to the Senate, but directly to their general, and to that eagle. This wasn't poetry. It was legal and spiritual code. The eagle became a religious icon, a portable piece of Rome itself. If the legion was camped, the eagle was kept in a sacred shrine. To lose it in battle was the ultimate damnation. That legion's number would be struck from the records. It ceased to exist. Its memory was a disgrace. Marius had turned a metal bird into a legal entity, an arrest warrant for cowardice. He had engineered a spell that turned farmers from Umbria into men who would die to protect a pole. And a century later, in the Teutoburg mud, that spell was coming due. Verus's legions weren't just being defeated. They were being unmade. When the last pockets of resistance collapsed, and the eagles of the 17, 18, and 19 were dragged away by screaming German tribesmen, it wasn't just a military defeat. It was a spiritual execution. Back in Rome, when the news hit, Augustus wasn't mourning 20,000 dead soldiers. He was mourning the death of 3 immortal things. Quintili Ver, legions red. Give me back my legions. He was screaming at a ghost, begging for the return of something he knew was gone forever. Rome's reaction proves how deeply this symbolic wound cut. The missing eagles became a national obsession, a source of profound shame. The state treated these metal poles like abducted members of the imperial family. For years, Roman policy was driven by one goal: get the eagles back. The general Germanicus spent years campaigning across the Rhine in brutal, vengeful raids. His goal wasn't just to punish the tribes, it was a recovery mission. In 15 AD, he plunged deep into the territory of the Bructeri tribe and recovered the eagle of the 19 legion. A year later, he fought his way to the Marsi and clawed back the eagle of the 17. Each recovery was celebrated in Rome as if a great war had been won. The final eagle, that of the 18 legion, remained a ghost for decades. It wasn't until 41 AD, under the Emperor Claudius, that it was finally recovered, almost 32 years after the disaster. 3 decades of a national wound, finally closed. And this obsession wasn't unique to Germany. Years earlier, the Parthian Empire had captured Roman standards at the disastrous Battle of Carrhae. For decades, it was a source of Roman humiliation. In 20 BCE, Augustus didn't win them back with an army. He won them with diplomacy. And when the standards were returned, he portrayed it as a monumental military conquest. He minted coins celebrating the recovery. He had it carved into the breastplate of his most famous statue, the Augustus of Prima Porta. A diplomatic exchange of metal poles was spun into a victory equal to a battlefield triumph. This is the power we are investigating. The power of a symbol to rewrite reality. On a pre-radio battlefield, this system made perfect, brutal sense. In the blinding fog of black powder smoke, the deafening roar of cannons, and the chaos of a melee, the standard was the one thing you could see. It was a sightline made law. It was the command node, the rally point, the visible contract that said, stand here, die here. But the Roman blueprint, the idea of binding men to a physical object with a sacred oath, was too powerful to stay in the past. It metastasized across cultures and centuries. In medieval France, the kings would go to the Abbey of Saint Denis to raise a special banner before a major war, the Oriflamme. It was a blood-red flag on a gilded lance. And when the Oriflamme was unfurled, it was a signal that the rules of war were suspended. No quarter would be given. No prisoners would be taken for ransom. It was a liturgical unsheathing, a holy declaration that mercy was officially turned off. In the Ottoman Empire, power was announced with the tug, a pole adorned with horsetails. A local governor might have 1 tail. A great vizier, 3. The sultan himself had up to 7. These weren't just decorations, they were portable thrones, symbols of delegated authority. To capture an enemy's tug in battle wasn't just a victory, it was to publicly behead their chain of command. In Sengoku-era Japan, the chaos of battle was organized by sashimono, small flags worn on the backs of individual soldiers, identifying their clan and unit. Generals could read the flow of a massive, swirling melee at a glance, turning thousands of individual soldiers into living map pins. It stitched the battlefield onto the men's backs. From Rome's eagle, to France's red flag of no mercy, to Ottoman horsetails, the mechanism is the same. A physical object is used to solve the problems of chaos, identification, coordination, and motivation. And then, the eagles returned. With a Corsican accent. In 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte, a student of Roman history, knew exactly what he was doing. He created new eagles for his regiments. These were not the eagles of a republic, they were the personal standards of an emperor. At a grand ceremony, he presented them to his colonels, who swore an oath of loyalty not to France, but to him. Losing one of Napoleon's eagles was a stain on the honor of France itself. Capturing one was a career-making triumph. And that brings us to a muddy field in Spain, in 1811. The Battle of Barrosa. In the heart of the fight, a brutal scrum of bayonets and cannons, Sergeant Patrick Masterson of the 87th Royal Irish Fusiliers sees it, the gilded eagle of the French 8th Line Regiment. What happens next is pure, cinematic chaos. An ensign named Keogh lunges for the eagle first and is immediately shot and bayonet. Masterson, seeing his officer fall, goes berserk. He fights his way to the French standard-bearer, Lieutenant Gazan, and in a desperate, hand-to-hand struggle, wrenches the eagle free. Holding the 20-pound bronze trophy aloft, he screams, "By Jesus, boys, I've got the cuckoo." The cheer that goes up from the Irishman is said to have broken the French line. Masterson didn't just capture a trophy. He captured a story. He stole the soul of that French regiment. That single act of violent theft was worth more than 1,000 cannonballs. The 87th was given the right to bear an eagle on their own colors forever, a permanent reminder of the day they stole Napoleon's thunder. The British had their own version, the colors. The king's color and the regimental color. In the thick, blinding smoke of black powder battles, these massive silk flags were the lungs of the army, breathing order into chaos. And the men tasked with carrying them, the color bearers, were marked for death. Everyone on the battlefield, every rifleman, every cannoneer, aimed at the colors. To take the enemy's flag was to stop their heart. To lose your own was unthinkable. Officers were under strict orders to burn the colors rather than let them be captured. This brings us to the sands of Fort Wagner, South Carolina, July 18, 1863. The men of the 54th Massachusetts, one of the first official African-American units in the Union Army, are charging into a storm of lead. Their color sergeant is hit and falls. The flag, the symbol of the Union they were fighting to preserve, a Union that had enslaved many of them, starts to dip towards the ground. Sergeant William H. Carney, who was born into slavery in Virginia, sees it happen. Without hesitation, he throws down his rifle, grabs the flag, and continues the charge. He is shot in the leg. He keeps going. He plants the flag on the wall of the fort. He is shot in the chest. He is shot in the arm. He is shot again. As the Union forces are driven back, Carney, bleeding from multiple wounds, crawls back across the sand, dragging the flag with him, refusing to let it touch the ground. When he finally reaches the safety of his own lines, he hands the flag to another soldier and says, before collapsing, "Boys, the old flag never touched the ground." Hundreds of medals of honor from the Civil War were awarded for actions just like this, for saving or capturing a piece of cloth. Carney's actions were among the very first by an African American to earn the medal. Because in that moment, the flag wasn't fabric. It was the physical manifestation of the promise of freedom. It was a spell that could translate unimaginable pain into cohesion. By the 20th century, we had perfected this magic. We learned to turn cloth not just into courage, but into cash. Iwo Jima, 1945. A tiny volcanic island of black ash. 6 men struggle to raise an American flag on a length of steel pipe atop Mount Suribachi. Photographer Joe Rosenthal clicks the shutter. That single image becomes one of the most powerful weapons of the war. But not on the battlefield. Back home. The photograph becomes the symbol of the 7th War Loan Drive. It's plastered on posters and in newspapers everywhere. And it works. The American public, galvanized by that image of exhausted, triumphant men raising a flag, pours money into war bonds. The drive raises over $26.3 billion. That's over $400 billion in today's money. A rectangle of fabric, captured in a photograph, paid for ships, tanks, salaries, and funerals. It minted morale directly into money. But symbols cut both ways. If you can use a flag to build, you can use it to destroy. And if you can't find the right symbol, you can forge one. August 31, 1939. A German radio station in Gleiwitz, right on the Polish border. Suddenly, a panicked broadcast in Polish cuts through the airwaves. Gunshots are heard. Then silence. The next morning, Adolf Hitler declares that Poland has attacked Germany. He has his proof, the attack on the Gleiwitz station. It's the final justification he needs to invade Poland. But it was all theater. A lie, staged from start to finish. The operation was codenamed Operation Himmler. The attackers were SS operatives in Polish uniforms. And to make it convincing, they brought a body. A man named Franciszek Honiok, a German farmer arrested the day before, was dressed in a Polish uniform, killed by lethal injection, and then shot up to look like a raider killed during the attack. They called him canned goods. At the Nuremberg trials after the war, the SS officer who led the raid, Alfred Naujocks, laid the whole cynical mechanism bare. They forged an incident. They used the symbols of an enemy, a uniform, a language, to create a casus belli, a reason for war. A counterfeit flag to authorize a real invasion. They shoved a nation over a cliff, and the lie worked. For a moment. Until gravity, and truth, collected the bill in the form of a world war. Here is the blueprint beneath all the blood and bravery. Flags, eagles, standards, they are not just decorations. They are engineered rituals. They are a technology designed to solve 3 critical battlefield problems under impossible stress. 1. Identification. In the chaos, it answers the most basic question, friend or foe? 2. Coordination. In the noise and smoke, it answers, where do I go? Where do we rally? 3. Meaning. When fear is screaming at you to run, it answers, why should I stay? Why should I die here? They take the terrifying anonymity of war and convert it into a powerful, visible obligation. And the turning points we've examined prove the mechanism. The power of loss, Teutoburg Forest. Break the symbol, and the body follows. When the eagles fell, command dissolved into panic, and 3 legions ceased to exist. The power of capture, the Battle of Barbarossa. Steal the enemy's soul, and you don't just win ground, you win the story. Sergeant Masterson punched a hole in Napoleon's memory. The power of raising, Iwo Jima. Hoist a flag at altitude, and you can convert frontline sacrifice into home front treasure. You mint morale into money. And the power of forgery, Gleiwitz. Counterfeit a flag, and you can trick an entire nation into war. For a moment. The invoice always comes due, and it is paid in blood, treasure, and truth. This ancient code is not dead. It's running on new hardware. International aid, diplomatic recognition, a seat at the UN, our world still gates these things behind colors on a pole. A banner swapped in a capital city can redraw maps faster than a river can change its course. And the threat of the false flag is more potent than ever. Deepfakes, staged incidents, viral disinformation, these are digital Gleiwitz. Faster, cheaper, and fed by algorithms designed to provoke the same tribal loyalties. Symbol literacy is no longer just for historians. It's now a critical security clearance for every citizen. We are all living in the Teutoburg Forest, surrounded by signals, trying to tell the difference between a true guide and a traitor. Each of us now walks around with an Aquila on our back. Our avatars, our profile badges, the hashtags we use, the brands we wear, these are the new standards we march under. We have sworn digital sacramento with every follow, every share, every click. Which brings us to the final, unsettling question. The one that began in the German reign 2,000 years ago. We now know that humans don't rally to cloth, we rally to the oaths we stitch into it. The symbol just hardens our choice into a command that we obey under pressure. So look at the banners in your own life. If the feed turned to mud, and iron, and breath, would you still hold the pole? This entire system of symbolic control, of using a simple object to command loyalty, was also perfected in one of the most bizarre and effective scams in world history. There's an investigation into a forged document that started a war waiting for you on the end screen. Click it, and continue down the rabbit hole. And for our question today, what's the one symbol, a flag, a logo, a family crest, anything, that you would refuse to see fall? What's your non-negotiable? Let me know in the comments below, and let's see what oaths we're all still living by. And if you want to be part of these daily investigations into the hidden codes that run our world, subscribe, and join the archive.